Hey guys, what's up? It's Alyssa, and today I'm here to share with you my experience on taking the California real estate license exam. I just took my test yesterday and I did pass, so I'm super excited about that. But I just wanted to give you some insight on what to expect at the exam center and what the test looks like and all of that fun stuff. I took my test at La Palma, which is the LA area test. Because of COVID, they are being pretty strict on keeping people separated. So they were keeping people outside the building and letting you up kind of two at a time. It was sort of like Hunger Games, to be honest. She would be like, "Are you ready?" And then like open the automatic door and two of us would go into the elevator and then upstairs. So once you get up there, they make you put everything in a locker. Everything you have, even watches or everything in your pockets, they make you turn your pockets inside out just to check. And then you get a bracelet that says the locker number on it, and then you just keep your ID and your confirmation paper. And then before you go in, they check your arms, make sure there's nothing written on them. They check the inside of your mask that you're wearing, and then they'll give you a mouse which has the number of the computer that you'll go to. So I was actually surprised that the room was much smaller than I expected. I would say there are maybe 40 people there, and it was kind of like you walk in, there's desks on each side and two people per row because they do have it spread out every other just because of COVID restrictions. Overall, I thought the atmosphere of it was nicer than I remember standardized testing to be. It wasn't like a lot of bright fluorescent lights in your face. I actually don't think they had many lights at all. It was mostly just the windows. So I thought that was kind of nice. And then the computer that you're working on is actually under the table. So you're looking down at it, at the screen, so no one else around you can see your screen. They'll also give you a basic calculator and a whiteboard. So what was the test like? For me, I prepared for the test by using just Prep Agent and Crash Course Online. So I can tell you that the interface is very much like the Crash Course Online interface for their mock tests. I think I'm gonna do a separate video on exactly what I did to prepare. But if you don't have Crash Course Online, don't go out and buy it just so you know what it looks like. I'll actually do a screen share at the end of this video to give you some idea, because it's always nice to just have an idea of what you're in for. So my strategy going in, well, actually let me back up a little bit. My test was at 12:45. Because I'm not a morning person. So if I had the option for an afternoon test, that's what I was going for. I arrived about an hour early. I sat in my car. I was listening to the Prep Agent podcast on the way there, and I brought some food with me. I ate lunch before I went in, and then I headed over to the building where the test is gonna be. And they actually wouldn't even let you line up until a half an hour before. So at 12:15, I kind of just hung out at tables that were on the side of the building. And then at 12:15, I headed over there to line up to go in. So going into the exam, I had heard that you should skip the first 5 questions because they make those harder purposely to throw you off. So I scrolled right down to 150 and started from the bottom. I will say though that once I did get to those top 5 questions, I didn't think they were harder, I guess. They weren't impossibly long questions or something like that. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard, so that's what I did. So I went through each question. If it wasn't familiar to me, or sometimes if it was just a really long scenario question, I was like, you know what, I'll skip this one for now and then go back to it after. So I went through all 150 questions. It took me about an hour, and then at that point I decided I would just take a quick break, just stand up, stretch. When you want to take a break on your computer, and I'll show you this later, there's a button that says take a break, and I guess it just kind of like locks your screen more or less, but it doesn't stop the clock. So you'll hit take a break, you take your mouse outside with you, and they hold on to that and give you a key if you want to go to the bathroom, which is right there in the room outside the exam room. So they don't let you leave that area. So then I came back, I had about 20 questions I'd skipped over because I wasn't 100% sure on them. So I just went back to those couple, and bearing in mind that you can get, I believe it's 44 questions wrong on this test and still pass. You only need a 70%. And you also don't get a true score at the end. It's just pass fail. So knowing that there's 20 questions that I was unfamiliar with, I knew that even if I got all of them wrong, there's a pretty good chance that I would still pass. So I was feeling pretty good about it at that point. But again, I had done at least 50 prep agent tests, like 50 to 100 questions before this, and I probably did like 7 or 8 full mock tests on Crash Course Online. So once you do feel done, you can click end exam, and then you'll go out with your mouse again, and then they'll print out your pass-fail paper right there, and then they'll fold it up and staple it, and you're not supposed to open it until you get outside the building, probably just so there's no distraction, because the wall between the exam center and where you kind of check in and check out is just a glass wall. So what were the questions actually like? I would say that they are maybe a bit more complicated than prep agent, but there were some that were super simple, like just straight vocabulary questions, or what does TILA stand for, or what does Cal FERPA stand for? If you haven't heard of that one, look that up, because I guessed on that one. So there was a lot of scenario questions, but not a whole like, it's not like every single one was like half a novel that you had to like comb through to figure out. So I didn't feel like they were trying to trick you the entire time. Just comparing prep agent to Crash Course Online though, I would probably say that the questions themselves are closer to the Crash Course Online questions. Not to say the prep agent questions didn't teach me a whole lot, because they definitely did. You know, it's definitely how I nailed down my vocabulary and how I was able to use the exams per subject to really see where I was struggling. So my suggestion to you would be to do as many exam questions as you possibly can find. So if you've been doing prep agent for a while, I would either look to see if you can find just questions on YouTube that you can just listen to while you're doing other things, or see if you can find some other like free prep tool. Or Crash Course Online, again, was really great. I just did their lowest package, which was like $70. Like, you just get the practice exams. And that has like, they do a little video to explain the answer to the question, so that's helpful too. But just seeing all kinds of different questions, you'll just pick up little bits of information here and there that like I didn't feel like I really had to study, but I heard it before, you know? So when you see it on the exam, you're like, oh, I've heard about that one before, so I can cross out this answer. It just helps you narrow down things the more you're exposed to. So overall, I think it's just about really studying. You really do have to put in the work for this and do a lot of practice exams. I would say scoring probably like 85, around 85 consistently, you should do fine. And at that point, you should be confident. You really should, because this test is not as hard as it may be in your head. So again, right after this, I'll just give you a quick screen share of what Crash Course Online looks like. And I wish you all the best. If you have any other questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. And if this was helpful to you, as always, please leave a like and subscribe. And I'm definitely planning on doing a few more videos to help you guys out. I'm not sure if anyone would be interested in like a full play-by-play of like getting to the La Fama location, like here's the parking garage, here's like the office building, etc. If you are, let me know, because I think for some people a video like that would be really helpful, especially if you're coming from far away and you can't go visit the place first and you have a little bit of like that anxiety of just not knowing what to expect right before you're taking this exam, right? Because you want to be able to focus on what you're there for, not the extraneous, like, how do you get there stuff. All right, so if you're interested in that, let me know, and I can put a video together on that. So again, best of luck, keep studying. It's a lot of information, but I don't know if this makes you feel better or worse, but after this exam, you can forget like 90% of it. All right, have a great day, guys. Okay, so really quickly, this is what Crash Course Online looks like. So you can see on the left side, they have a list of all the questions here. So as I mentioned, when I took my test, I just scrolled all the way down to 150 and started from the bottom. They'll also have your answered questions and the unanswered questions. So you can be pretty sure that you won't miss a question if you're paying attention to that. There'll also be a take a break button and then the end button. So that's the same as the real exam. And then they'll also have this countdown at the top right to show you how much time you have left. So don't pay too much attention to that. I promise, if you study for this exam, you will not need even close to 3 hours. All right, so just as an example here to show you, for the first question, which are the following? Okay, so you'll just choose an answer there, and on the test, it just fills in the square there so it knows that you answered it. So if you're unsure about a question, don't click the one that you think it is, because then it will get filled in on the left side. So you can either just mark it down on your whiteboard or just move on to the next question, and then keep going with that and answer that. And then you can see they're all getting checked off or filled in. And then it's really easy for you to go back and see which ones you haven't answered yet. So again, just like in the real exam, when you take a break, the clock is just still ticking there. It's just in break mode. And then you can just, when you come back, you hit resume exam and you keep on going. So that's about it. I hope that helps, because it's definitely nice to be able to see what you're dealing with before you get in there.